Friday, October 4th, 2019, Federation in all forms has been rejected at the end of the major national dialogue in Cameroon's political capital, Yaoundé. As participants round up, we shall be giving you what has been adopted, as they prefer that northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon be given a special status. What is the meaning of the special status given to the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon? We shall be telling you more in this edition of the news. And joy was the atmosphere at the Nube prison here in the nation's economic capital, Douala, for some 54 detainees of the Anglophone crisis who today benefited from the special measure taken by the President of the Republic of Cameroon. We'll give you the atmosphere in this edition of the news. Thanks for joining us. It is the primetime newscast on the best of television, Equinox Television. We are live from Equinox Central News Desk in Douala, Cameroon. We begin with news from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, as Cameroonians from within and out of the country rounded up the one-week event at the Yaoundé Conference Center. The major national dialogue has ended with a special status accorded to the northwest and southwest regions. Proposals like confederation, federation in all forms, be it 2, 10 states or 4-state federation, have so far been rejected by participants, especially those who are members of the commission in charge of decentralization and local development that moves closer to discuss key issues related to the form of states in Cameroon. Listen to the final resolutions read with regard to that commission by the rapporteur of the major national dialogue. He is Cameroon's minister delegate in the Ministry of External Relations in charge of relations with the Commonwealth, Felix Mbayo.
And local government. The endowment of the northwest and southwest regions with a special status in conformity with section 62 sub 2 of the Constitution, which states that the law may take into account the specificities of certain regions with regards to their organization and functioning. The effective and accelerated putting in place of the regions, the disbursement of special allocation to each of the councils in the northwest and southwest to facilitate the effective resumption or return to certain agglomerations. The suppression of the provision for the appointment of government delegates provided for within the special regime applicable to certain agglomerations. A substantial reduction of the powers of supervisory authorities. In view of the reinforcement of the financial autonomy of local authorities, the Commission also recommended the effective implementation of Section 32 sub 2 of the Law on the Orientation of Decentralization, which stipulates the finance law, which stipulates that the finance law will determine, on the proposal of the government, the proportion of the state revenue dedicated to the Common Decentralization Fund. In this connection, the participants proposed that a margin of 10 to 15% of state budget be allocated to councils. The waiver of the principle on the single treasury account which delays the effective transfer of funds to local authorities. It is noteworthy to mention that some of the recommendations need to be specifically highlighted. This included, as just mentioned, the granting of a special status to the North and Southwest regions, which received a standing ovation in the commission dealing with this matter. The need to take specific measures to ensure the quality of English and French in all aspects of national life. The need to reinforce the autonomy of decentralized local entities.
The minister, rapporteur of the major national dialogue, equally came back to the recommendations of one of the key commissions, that is the commission in charge of bilingualism and cultural diversity. Their recommendations were read by the rapporteur.
Vision number 1, bilingualism, cultural diversity, and social cohesion. They recommended, amongst many others, the following: enhancing the practice of bilingualism in all segments of society through the creation and implementation of programs starting from preschool ages, enrooting cultural diversity through a strict implementation of regional balance and equitable access to public service and security forces. Conceive and implement a curriculum on intercommunity fellowship, rebuilding fraternal trust and civic engagement in an effort to strengthen national social cohesion. Pass legislation that spells out the equitable use of both official language in all areas of national life. Develop and codify principles for social dialogue, social cohesion, and living together.
At a time when there were multiple calls for federalism in the conflict-hit northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, we question our political analysts and equally an expert on this term used by the commission in charge of local development, the decentralization and local development, to explain further the meaning of a special status granted to the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. He is Professor Willie Broad.
Realize that it is not an innovation. It is just people who are ignorant of the Constitution. Let us realize that Article 62 of the Constitution says that we can have special status given to particular region based on their specificities. So this is not an innovation, and that is not what the Anglophones cried for. The Anglophones actually wanted a return to that state which existed before reunification, or at least to the state that existed before 1972, right? So that would be a federal status quo, and to deny the issuance of that status quo might not augur well with many of Anglophones. And let me do a point of correction. It was not unanimously agreed that the special status be given to Anglophones. I should consider it to be some imposition in a manner, because it had heated debates, and he needed a wise man, Akame Fumu, former minister, to be able to revisit this constitution, this article of the constitution, to redirect the attention of the participants. But the greatest majority, I'm sure that if we had to pass for a vote, the greatest majority would have been against this position. But the dialogue was important because it opened a window of hopes for Cameroonians. If we have started dialoguing today, that should be the beginning of a whole process of dialogue, and we do hope that many changes would come forth so that Cameroonians can be able to live at peace again.
And families of some 54 Cameroonians detained at the Douala Central Prison, that's in the Nube neighborhood of the city of Douala, should now be rejoicing after their release. The 54 benefited from the decision of the President of the Republic of Cameroon yesterday to release some 333 Anglophones arrested for committing misdemeanors within the context of the crisis hitting the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Less than 48 hours after the decision, the implementation already went operational at the level of the littoral region, precisely in the city of Douala. As you can see there in the images, that is the Douala Military Tribunal in the economic capital Douala. And of course, the Anglophones there, some of them expressing gratitude to the authorities of the region and equally by extension to the President of the Republic of Cameroon. We hooked up with one of them who accepted to express his gratitude on the microphone of Equinox Television.
Full Peter, and thank government for the decision has taken to end this conflict that takes away the lives of many people. And again, I'm sorry because I came here without knowing anything. It's by enemy. The Bible says that it's time for everything. It's time to come to prison, and it's time again to go out of prison. When I go out, I will tell the people that to go to prison is not punishment, it's to learn. I've learned a lot, even to persevere. If somebody abuses you, you don't care. Do as the Bible said, Matthew 25:35, that visit the person whom you know in prison.
With majority of them insisting that they were arrested for committing no crime, they, however, applied or pleaded on authorities to consider allowing lawyers in Cameroon to go as far as entering prisons in order to talk directly with their clients.
Maybe for the last time in these proceedings, I am a former mayor of Central Council, a human rights consultant for 20 years running. I am one of the heads of New York Foundation. I have been defending human rights for the past 20 years. I will thank, if I start by saying I thank the President of the hypocrite. I thank the commissioner, the senior prosecutor of the military tribunal. I thank him because the President of the Republic takes decisions according to his reports. I thank this court too. I thank Madam particularly because she has received me in her court. And I thank you first because you have translated a document in this court into English, following my plea. If every officer of this nation was doing like this, President Bay will not have a problem. The lawyers, they should put more effort by going to prison to meet your clients there and talk with them. If they cannot be meeting them only in court, I thank you.
And Colonel Abu Aka, Vice President of the Douala Military Tribunal, indicated that their decision to release these persons immediately falls in line with their effort to accompany President Paul Biya in his move to see normalcy in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
Of the Republic is determined to restore peace and consolidate unity, particularly in southwest and northwest region, but in the whole country in general. Through not only the major national dialogue and today, but also by ordering discontinuance of proceeding pending before the military tribunals against 333 persons arrested for misdemeanors in connection with crisis in both regions. For this purpose, we have, all of us as citizens, responsibility to accompany him in this process. In this process, we have to accompany him because we want to reach the goal. We want to achieve the best result. We want to be definitely successful.
As relatives of the released Anglophone detainees rejoin, inhabitants of Mundemba in the Indian division of the southwest region of Cameroon are equally rejoicing. They are happy over the start of activities at one of the major agro-poles in the southwest region, that is Pamor. Activities are said to have resumed at Pamor after several months of inactivity as a result of the Anglophone crisis. Innocent as it tells us more.
Pamor resuscitates after it was sent to coma for a long period by the armed conflict, which did not spare Mundemba in the Njan division of the southwest region. A club commentators say is merited by the government for supporting the general manager, Chief Mekania Charles, who was in Mundemba recently to supervise finishing touches at the mill before it went fully operational on the 12th of September 2019. Mundemba residents say the operation of the mill will go a long way to boost economic activities as workers and farmers could be able to generate revenue through salaries and sales of farm produce to the company, which also enabled parents send their children to school. Pamor general manager, despite the challenges he faced to revamp activities, was still able to assist the children affected by the Anglophone crisis go back to school. This has granted school needs to the children who were stopped from pursuing their fundamental rights to education by separatists. These are mostly children in schools found within the Pamor plantation.
And it is equally the atmosphere of joy reigning in Bonaberi in the Douala 4 municipality. Inhabitants are happy after elements of the National Gendarmerie and police forces apprehended some young men who are said to be behind the terror caused to inhabitants. They are suspected to be bandits terrorizing Douala 4 municipality. More with Hemine Luga.
Arrest the population of Mabanda, Ral, amongst other neighborhoods along Novel Road to Bonaberi in the Douala 4 Kanto area had sleepless nights. On several occasions, houses were attacked and inhabitants robbed. The gang has finally been laid hands upon by the forces of law and order. The bandits here explain how they operate. They cut up with a lady and a man where they took 20,000 francs and 50,000 francs respectively. The commander on his part here says they fell within the nets timely, and the forces of law and order are doing the possible best to lay hands on the others on the roll. Operating with white arms and guns, their belongings have been seized while they have been kept at the Baseka National Gendarmerie branch in Douala. Your case is then scheduled to be handled by the military tribunal.
Butchers in Mbanga in the Mungu division of the Littoral region have abandoned the newly constructed slaughterhouse in that part of the Mungu division. The butchers say the new slaughterhouse is far and has no water, which is necessary for their activities. Manjikan Gabriel tells us more.
The slaughterhouse of Mbanga invaded by grass. Even though well constructed and having a reservoir, the slaughterhouse that has been built for the past 2 years is still to get into effective use because the butchers say it is too far and there is no water. We are still working at the old slaughterhouse because when the new one was constructed, we were not consulted and it was constructed where there is no water. At the old site, we have water though no road.
kill the other people again.
According to the butchers, the old slaughterhouse where animals are being slaughtered is more suitable because it has water, with their only problem being the poor state of roads. If we were consulted before it was constructed, we would have preferred that the money spent would have been used to open us roads. We suffer to transport meat to the main roads after killing them. The new slaughterhouse that is not used, according to the butchers, is poorly built on a hilltop in the midst of people living around. They are now calling on the mayor of Mbanga Council to envisage a way out to enable their activities go on hitch-free.
Hemodialysis patients across Cameroon, especially those in the conflict-hit northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, say they now only count on a miracle to be able to live each passing hour, especially as the crisis in the regions has affected their economic strength, reducing their financial strength to nothing. They are, however, unable to pay for the necessary health materials, that is, the health complications that they go through as patients in this sector of health complications. Innocent tells us more.
Apart from insufficient dialysis machines in hemodialysis centers in Cameroon, financial constraints also account for death due to kidney failure and growing number of hemodialysis patients.
Call me Efiepita. I have been sick today for 10 months, and now I've been dialyzing for 9 months. And if I am still alive, it's because of God. Every day I'm praying that God to see into our situation. He should help everyone that is having this disease.
My name is Vokemble, so I'm a hemodialysis since 2 years. 1 month of hemodialysis sent for payment is not easy because now with the financial aspect that we are facing now.
I am called Kumfa Eric. I'm a patient of dialysis for 6 years today. I was diagnosed in 2013. So I have been having difficulties in treatment.
I've been diagnosed for kidney failure since 3 years now.
At the hemodialysis center of the Boya Regional Hospital, Southwest Region, hit by a close to 4-year socio-political crisis, the needs of these hemodialysis patients are high as their condition gets worse daily as a result of poverty meted on them by the broken economy.
Each dialysis session is 5,000 a week. I call this illness a rich man disease because if you don't have money, you cannot succeed in doing hemodialysis. Most of these patients, they come from afar. Just imagine, they have to pay transportation from where they are coming from. Some are coming from Melon, some are coming from Douala, Kumba, Limbe, Moyuka. It has not been easy from them. Then when they come here again, they are supposed to pay for their hemodialysis for that day. Just imagine what is going through with them. Some of them, they are fathers, some of them are mothers, some of them are children that they go to school, and most of them, they have even stopped their education because it is not easy for their parents to continue sending them to school and paying their dialysis that they are supposed to do twice a week. Twice a week is 10,000.
From a bitter testimony and compassion by a non-governmental organization, the helpless hemodialysis patients benefited an opportunity to ameliorate their poor health. A total of 17 underprivileged patients now benefit financial assistance to cover the dialysis fees for 4 sessions, as well as a PRO injections for 12 other most vulnerable patients at a total cost of over 330,000 francs CFA, which they could not raise in the crisis-stricken zones.
In this foundation, a young organization, we having as main objective to help the needy. We are privileged to give.
We visited
4 underprivileged persons or group of persons. We've gone to the Ndeles dance group or cultural group at Mbengui. We visited 3 orphanages here at the Southwest region.
With this, the suffering Cameroonians can only give thanks, especially to God.
I thank God for sending you people today to help us, to help much patients, and I thank you people for all what you have done for us.
We will thank God for the Ndeles Foundation for what they are doing for us.
Personnel at hemodialysis centers in state hospitals like the Boya Regional Hospital shake hands with those waiting to accompany the health institution to solve problems faced by hemodialysis patients like insufficient medical equipment and the frequent power outage.
That report from EQUINOXE brings us to the end of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television. We thank you for your very kind attention. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of programs on Equinox Television, and to all of you, a nice weekend.